Well, here I am. It's Saturday night, and I'm sitting here. This is my vlog. Sitting here thinking about what I'm doing, what I'm gonna keep planning moving forward. I would like to have a successful small YouTube career. We, people they come in with expectations of getting rich and going viral. From the studying that I've done, that ain't gonna be the way. So I just have to be here every day talking about who, what, where, why, and when. Well, I'm studying right now the thumbnails, trying to get that figured out. I'm sitting in my semi truck waiting for some trailers to come off the ferry here. And I was watching a couple videos earlier. Our fellow James, he's talking about Oliver Tree. Oliver Tree in a helicopter crash. He DIED'd. That guy, he had some weird stuff going on behind him. He's talking about Antarctica, pyramids down in Antarctica. Was he joking or trolling, or was he really into that sort of stuff? He seemed to have a good idea about what was going on. And why don't somebody Google and find out if he really did go down there and perform? I'm not doing that right this second. Why don't you tell me? So let's look at it this way. If this guy's down there and he did perform, it seems like people are traveling down there and they're being shown something. From Buzz Aldrin, he went down there and he seemed pretty concerned about some things that he's seen down there. Obama, did Biden go down there? I don't know. We'll have to. I don't know if Biden, he was too old and silly. We'll say we'll call him silly. But yeah, something might be happening down in Antarctica. What this is written about in the 1920s by an author called H.P. Lovecraft in a short form novella called At the Mountains of Madness. It's one of my favorite stories of all time. I absolutely love that story. And in that story, there's a expedition down to Antarctica at the time when Antarctica was barely explored at that point. It's hardly explored right now because they don't want to show us or talk about what's really going down there. It's a continent the size of the United States at least, and all they ever show us is the middle. Like, how many things are in the United States that are wondrous, from the Grand Canyon to, Mount Rushmore was made and created by man, or the pyramids down in Mexico, which is just close by, right? But there's a lot of stuff going on in the United States. The hoodoos, the Devil's Tower in Wyoming from Close Encounters of the Third Kind, all these different things around there. And you don't think that there's something down in Antarctica that is wondrous, from the blood rivers, from the iron oxide that bleeds out into those glacier melt off runoff that turns blood red. That's pretty wild looking stuff. 100% there's going to be other stuff. And we're talking about a continent with 2 miles of ice at places, 10,000 feet with just mountains sticking out at the top. Well, if there is something underneath the ice, I'm not going to lie, there's probably a good chance it's been ground up by the glacier. So maybe we will or will not see it. There's also the potential for giant caverns. Now, ice caverns. Well, the thing with the ice caverns is, like in Greenland, we have United States created Operation Iceworm and Camp Century, where they brought up portable nuclear power plants and started digging into the tunnels up there. But the problem that they were coming across was the ice would shift every year and make it very difficult for consistent tunnels, right? And so if down in Antarctica there's the same problem, would the World War II Germans, would they be able to do the same thing now if they had a giant cavern around a river and or around the lakes deep down there? Maybe it's more stable in a large cavern rather than the tunnels that the Americans created. Because the Americans with Project Iceworm, they were apparently, the plan was, whether they did it or not, let's look into that some more, but they wanted to tunnel like worms through the ice with ICBM missile carriers. Like those things, the Russians have a lot of those. They're on the backs of trucks and Scud missiles, right? And that way they would be closer to Russia. But now, down in Antarctica, the myth, the legends, the stories is that the World War II Germans, they went down there and used submarines to get into the ice from below. Well, if this was the case, were they able to find semi-permanent habitation down there? Or the story from Richard D. Byrd's Operation High Jump down there. Well, the story goes is that that expedition was attacked and they lost planes and soldiers. So we need to figure out is, are the people going down there to visit Antarctica, are they being shown the ancient civilization, or are they being shown a more modern civilization like the World War II Germans in Argentina? Are they just like hanging out in a city that they built on the surface or under the ice in Antarctica? They're just living there. There's a whole bunch of people. They just built city. This was also in some other novellas from 1890 to 1920s. There's the one, I can't think of it right now. It's like Iron Sea or Iron Sky or something. Well, Iron Sky is a movie about World War II Germans on the moon. But I'm talking about the one where they take an expedition down there, a ship, and there's a whole civilization of very tall people down there. Not necessarily giants, but some tall people. There's also the story of the Smoky God in the Arctic. They go through tunnels and come out in whether it's a hollow earth or another realm on an island region up there in the North Arctic. They also encounter tall people. But my point being is, whatever's going down in Antarctica, did this guy Oliver Tree, when he went and visited down there, is it just that open? Because he seemed to have loose lips, and maybe he let a few things slip. Did he really create a documentary about the things that he's seen down there, and they crashed his helicopter? Because when this is conspiracy, but the record label feels that an artist has run its creative course, but they have a catalog backlogged, like Oliver Tree said they had. He had an album that the label didn't want to promote or release. Well, now that he's dead and everybody heard about him, in a few months it might be a good time to release the album. They get more out of it and they don't have to pay him out. Whether they pay out the estate or not, I don't know. That's all in the paperwork, right? 360 record deal. Well, anyways, point being is people have some weird things to say about Antarctica. Whether they are truth, rumor, speculation, hype, or absolute horseshit, we have yet to see. Remember there was a year or two ago, a young guy flew an airplane, just like a smaller Cessna, and he managed to land down there, and he got scooped up and sent back. What is it down there over the airspace that is so important that they're stopping people from being in that region? That's what we want to know. What is it about? Is it about the airspace or the ground space? You're just gonna fly over and see a city that we're not supposed to see. You know, remember in the movie The Thing, there's a great big UFO under the ice. That movie's pretty trippy. It's scary, kind of, you know. Not necessarily the creature, because the creature can be a archetype of various things, but the template of the frozen ship and the frozen creature inside. Another story that's similar to is it Robotech or Macross, where the alien giant alien spaceship had crashed and the humans disassemble it to create mecha vehicles. I don't think it's Gundam. I think it's Macross or Robotech or something. There's a trendy. Correct me if I'm wrong. But we'll make an episode about that. How does 1980s and early 90s anime seem to have knowledge of things that are either revealed later or seem to be unknown? My speculation is that with the Japanese and the Americans so closely intertwined, the Japanese animation industry was used as a psyop to test the public reaction to some of these very strange ideas. We get into that. There's a movie, Eyes of Mars, Robotech, Macross, like Macross Plus, 1996, 97. I remember watching that shit on Showcase or Bravo, whatever channel would show the anime at night. That one shows their YF-47 or whatever, the airplane with the mind control, going all the way back to Clint Eastwood and the Fox Bat. Isn't that one? It's the same thing. They basically take the Fox Bat from the old movie, put it into an anime, and now 2026 they start talking about, oh shit, we probably can do that. Or in the Jesse Michael show, talking about using psionic operators and a separate pilot to control the psionic operator to then control a psionically operated UFO. What the hell is going on? We live in here in 2026. We believe the technology is far more advanced than I'm sitting here in a 20-year-old semi-truck that is the same as a 2025 semi-truck. From the transmission back is the same goddamn thing. There's been no advancement of the technology that was necessary, because this truck does the damn job that a new one, except I don't have the problems of emissions and all that stupid shit. But anyways, here in closing, after 13 minutes, 13:37, we'll get there. In closing, something's going on down in Antarctica that the societies don't want the rest of us to know about. They don't want us flying over. They don't want us wandering around down there. Because it's not like it could be that bad in the summertime, taking one of those Antarctic, Icelandic, Norwegian Toyotas with the big tires. Nah. Or the tanks that people have now. Get the guy from Diesel Brothers to go down there with all the crazy crap that he operates. He got the balls to do it. Well, in closing, adios, amigos.